Hello, everybody. This is Mariah Carey. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
This is David Bowie.
Amy Grant here.
This is Weird Al Yankovic.
And this is Leanne Rimes, and you're listening to The Sounds of Christmas
podcast.
Hi, I'm Ken Kessler, and welcome to the Sounds of Christmas podcast. If you're new to this podcast, I want to start by saying thanks for joining us. If you're not new, welcome back. Either way, I'm glad you're here. Now, to avoid any confusion, I want to start off by saying there won't be any music played here. This is a place for conversation. I'll talk about Christmas music and some related topics, sometimes by myself and sometimes with guests. If you're looking for music, just go to soundsofchristmas.com and click on the tree or the player on the front page or on the Listen Now page. We play the best variety of Christmas music all year long. Well, except in October, when we play the best variety of Halloween music. Speaking of Halloween music and Christmas music, this episode's guests have experience with both. Check out some of this stuff. Billboard Top 10 Fun Halloween Songs and New Christmas Music. #1 Hot Release on Amazon. #1 Holiday Album on iTunes, Apple Music. And I think this was also, well, let me introduce you first. Alicia and Victor from Fans of Jimmy Century. Thank you so much for joining me on the Sounds of Christmas podcast.
Thank you for having us,
Thank you
Ken.
for having us.
I think this was also on iTunes, but I'm not sure that Scream Queens was #1 on a holiday singles chart. And Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, was #3.
Ah,
That is correct.
Yeah, we were pretty excited about that. And of course, my favorite is Andy Williams. And we did pass him at one point, but that didn't last long.
Doesn't matter, you did it.
We did, yes.
So let me start with the obvious question that everybody who ever talks to you probably asks. Where did the name Fans of Jimmy Century come from?
Well, we were in a band that was on Elektra Records called Simon Stinger, and Rick Ocasek was our A&R guy who was getting us on Elektra. And Simon Stinger we were actually called the Heathers. And then when we were our first EP or actually vinyl 7-inch single that we put out, 415 Records wanted to come and sign us, and another record label called us up and said, that name's already done. You need to find another name. And finally, this cement truck comes driving by, and it was called Simon. And it said Simon Stinger. We said that's a great name for a band. It sounds like a spy name. So we just grabbed that name, and we became Simon Stinger that day. And then when Elektra folded into Atlantic, and that band, they still kind of owned us. So we had to go to a different direction. So we kind of went. Originally, we were Electronic Dance. We wanted a name that was still kind of that spy kind of name. So we came up with Jimmy Century, to kind of go with the Simon Stinger thing. And then we were like, well, we want to be Electronic Dance. So we want a name like Frankie Goes to Hollywood. So Alicia's like, and we were also into really big into Google SEO. And Alicia's like, well, no one's ever been called Fans of something. And we could really, SEO that. So we became Fans of Jimmy Century instead of Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
That also caused a lot of confusion. Like when we first went on Facebook wouldn't let us have an official page because they thought it was a fans of page. And then like emails that we would get were funny because we would get emails because it was FOJC. We shorten it. People just call us FOJC or. So we would get emails for, fans of Jesus Christ and friends of the Jewish community and all these great emails. I started emailing them back,
Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned Electronic Dance, and it seems kind of silly for me to describe your music, which really doesn't fit in under any particular label anyway. But how do you guys describe it?
Well, the first album we did was Electronic Dance, and then probably the first couple albums we did were Electronic Dance, and this few singles we put out. But then we do a lot of songs for film and TV. We have about 280 songs in film and TV. So what they would, we were writing briefs for like one song we wrote a brief for Deadpool 2, and they actually cut the scene out, but we and so it didn't get used at Deadpool 2. And it's a song called Best of My Generation, and the original chorus was "Back Your Punk Ass Up." I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but the NBA called us up and they wanted it for a guy named Giannis, who is the Greek Freak, the MVP of basketball at the time. And they asked us, change it because it was written originally for Deadpool, so had a little more language in it than they wanted. So we changed it to "Back It All the Way Up." So there's two versions on Spotify, one with the original version, and "Back It All the Way Up," which is the version that the NBA used. So that was a little more like rap punk almost. And then we just kind of, kept writing for Everbreeze, and Simon Stinger was originally a punk band, and then we became a pop band. So now we're all over the place. Now we're kind of electronic, funk, rock, pop,
But
whatever.
but
Jazz.
the writing for briefs created this thing with us where now we call ourselves genre benders because we wrote in so many different styles that we were like, boy, what are we? And that's what we are. We're genre benders. I mean, the album that you have, luckily for us, it's a holiday album. So under that holiday umbrella, we can skip around to different genres like, theatrical pop and swing and
Reggae-ish.
funk, calypso. So we have all these different styles. And I think that's what we're going to stay with. But writing for films taught us how to do that. And so that's what we are.
Yeah.
I think I call us, and Victor would say he doesn't even understand this, but I call us mod wave fringe, like because we're always kind of on the fringe. We don't really fit with anything or anyone, but
Yeah.
we definitely have our influences, but we don't really fit in any genre.
But we can play with anyone. We play with a bunch of different kinds of bands live. And, we come off a little more hard rock-ish live because that's kind of our background,
New wave.
new wavy,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, for anybody who's listening who isn't already familiar with you, I know you're not a cover band, but this will give you at least a little idea. You guys have recorded or covered "Under the Milky Way" by The Church,
Ah.
"Wake Me Up Before You Go Go" by Wham. On your YouTube channel, Frank Sinatra, Roxy Music, and Prince, among many others.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think, one of the things I love about Christmas music is that anything goes.
Exactly.
You can have a Christmas album, and you can have a Frank Sinatra song, and you can have Wham, and you can have David Bowie, and you can have on and on and on, all these different kind of genre bending sort
Right.
of songs, and everybody's fine with that.
Right.
It
Exactly.
works.
Exactly. The holiday umbrella is Christmas has afforded us
Yeah.
a place to fit.
Yeah.
And so I love that we have this holiday album, which, we'll be touring on. So it's
Yeah.
something because it comes around every year, it's our focus now.
Yeah. Because
So,
we
yeah.
do big, productions with dancers and actors and all that kind of stuff. And we had a show here in Vegas called Fatale Original before the pandemic, with people hanging from the ceilings and all kinds of stuff. But that's the kind of production show we want to do for a holiday stuff. But since it's Halloween and Christmas, we can actually start in like September and go all the way through December, and touring in that realm, which would be a lot of fun. But still play some more older, other songs. Like our last album, we actually did another remake that was released of that Sponge song, "Wax Ecstatic," that was actually number 13 worldwide, and it did really well. And so we can still do that because we can dress people up as mannequins or whatever like that, and have a lot of fun with it. And but when you said wake me that Wham, wake me up before you go go, that's actually a mashup between Wham and Love TKO.
Yeah, so that even within the song we're
Yeah.
changing genres. Yeah.
I want to get to the new album here in just a minute, but it's not the first time you guys have dabbled in Halloween-esque songs or Christmas songs. I think Ghosts of Paradise was the first one I came across that could be considered Halloween. Is there something before that, or am I completely wrong?
No, you're right. You're good, Ken. And I don't think we wrote that specifically as a Halloween song, but the ghosts reference we would target,
Yeah.
Halloween placements and things like that, and playlists and
Yeah.
and it is kind of a Halloween vibe.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you heard the acoustic version or the more dancier version, but there's a
The
few
dance one.
different versions of that
Yeah.
Ghost of Paradise. The acoustic version is definitely I think my favorite of it, but the but yeah, it's definitely going to go in the Halloween set for our live
It goes in
show.
the Halloween section.
And another one that I think could fit on certainly on a Halloween playlist. Evil Twin Sister, Blame Madonna.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. You're so right. We were thinking about the set the other day and Evil Twin came up.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The new album, and I should have mentioned this earlier, a couple of holiday spirits, Halloween Perils and Christmas Carols, divided exactly in half, 5 Halloween songs, 5 Christmas songs. What was the inspiration for doing one that merged the two holidays?
You know,
Uh,
yeah.
it felt like every time we'd put out a holiday song, that those were the most popular in our catalog later on in our years as fans of Jimmy Century. So we were like, okay, we've got these Christmas songs and let's try to do all the holidays. So at first, we were going to do Valentine's Day and Thanksgiving and all these things, but we were having so much fun with the Halloween songs and then writing original Christmas songs that it just loaded up the album,
Yeah.
and so we didn't get to those
Yeah.
other tracks. Um, and it was great. It was great for us to be able to write a truly original Christmas song because the first one we did was kind of a mashup, Santa Jamaica, of our song that was Santa Jamaica, but we used the verses from Jolly Old Saint Nick because they're public domain. And this time we had a chance to write Here Comes Christmas, which to us was one of the better songs,
Yeah.
one of the featured songs on the record. So yeah, we never really got around to the other holidays, but
And the Christmas thing,
Yeah.
it was actually, it's funny you say Mariah Carey because that's where we're like, we need to try to write a Christmas song, and at least try to write a Christmas song that would get played every year, like Mariah Carey. I mean, that one song bought her an island.
because we love that song. We love All I Want for Christmas.
Yeah.
I love it every year. And I love the jokes that are made about it. And I love that she is so funny about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
She's
it's an
so
amazing song.
she laughs at herself. And it's funny. There's this meme that's going around that says, make sure you enjoy Halloween because Mariah Carey is defrosting as we
Yeah, I've seen that. She's in the big block of ice.
It's so great.
Our Christmas song, that was our attempt at trying to
Yeah, it was our attempt.
to get a song that would keep going every year like Mariah Carey.
Well, the first song on the album, and certainly the first one that I heard, "Wanna Be Dracula," and it made me laugh because I'm thinking, there are so many vampire everything that has
Right.
become almost a cliche, and then
Right.
this song just takes that and spins it on its head.
That's really great to hear. All of the songs we feel like, especially "Wanna Be Dracula," have characters. And I'm a voice actor, so a lot of my voices that I do end up in songs. And Victor has a great voice for the Dracula. Like that was awesome to do that together. And it really, I don't even know, we had never written a calypso
No.
song, and but that one has really taken off. Our album is submitted on the Grammy ballot this year, and it's under children's.
That's
And
where holiday albums fall under usually is children.
especially ours, but Wannabe Dracula is leading the charge of that album because people have really it's really resonated with
With
people.
people, yeah. And
Yeah.
we're right now we're working on a 3D animation kind of Pixar type of video. Well, we're not. We had some guys. So and it's almost done. We're actually going to release tonight. We're going to release the first minute and 36 seconds of it because just kind of as a trailer, and then hopefully the rest of it's going to be done by
Before Halloween.
yeah, be like October 27th.
Yeah.
But it's really good. It's really good, and it really captivates what you were saying. It just kind of makes fun of the whole
Yeah, it captures it.
Dracula thing.
I love the I love Scream Queens and Bride of Frankie, but I think Tomorrow It's Halloween is my favorite on side one, if you will, of the album of the Halloween stuff.
Oh,
Oh, that's awesome. That song actually started out as a Simon Stinger song, our old band. It was a song that Rick Ocasek also really liked. So you have great taste.
yeah,
But it was called Tomorrow It's Gonna Rain.
yeah,
And then we modified it.
yeah. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. But if you ever heard "Tomorrow It's Gonna Rain" from Simon Stinger, you'd be like, oh, that's it.
Yeah, and that's that punky pop that we were talking about. That was the vibe. That was the sound of our old bands. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I think is really one of the fun things about this album is that it doesn't sound like the same song over and over. It doesn't sound like you're doing the same thing. It's not cookie cutter. It's it's just a lot of fun, and every one of them is so much different than the one before it, but it all fits together.
Yeah.
That's a great compliment because, and the other thing is we wanted it to all be fun. We didn't want any sad, so many of the song, even holiday songs can be kind of sad and thoughtful and reflective, and we didn't want that. We just wanted it to be fun.
No,
Yeah.
there are two cookie cutter songs on that album though, and
Oh,
one
yeah.
of them is Scream Queens, and the other one is Ice Queens because we because they're the same songs. We wanted one for Christmas and one for Halloween.
But at least they sound different.
I know.
They do sound different. We move into the Christmas stuff. As I mentioned with the Halloween songs, this isn't your first foray into Christmas music. You gave away, in fact, I think it's still free on your YouTube channel, a cover of "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas."
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow! I
Yeah,
forgot
we
about that.
did. Yeah. Yeah, we
Yeah.
did that kind of as we did that actually it was for a children's project.
That's what it was for. Yeah, some kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
children's charity thing that was
Yeah.
album or
I
something.
think it was, yeah, I can't remember. It was
Yeah.
for a TV show. Remember we did it on TV?
Right, that's what it was for.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
That's
we
okay.
always got that one. That's
forget
why
that.
it didn't go on. Actually, you know what? I'm wrong. I'm wrong about that. We did think about it for a second, and we decided that it wasn't our best work. So that's why it didn't end up on the album. We would have had to redo it, I
Oh,
think.
right. Also,
Like best mix and vocal. Yeah.
yeah, and also
So-
to get on the Grammy ballot, you had to have a certain amount of original
Right.
music that was on an album, and unreleased stuff. And since some of those songs were released,
Right. That's right.
and
Yeah.
and also original, so time-wise, it didn't fit on there neither because of that.
And another one that falls under that same category, not original was your cover of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. That was a single a couple years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that one was the one that really kicked it off in terms of, wow, our people like the holiday stuff
Yeah.
that we put out. So that one on TikTok did well. Um, Lots of users used that one, and it became one of the most popular ones that had a female lead. So that was encouraging. And then it became number one before any of the other holiday songs on iTunes. It was in Canada. That was the first time we got
Yeah.
ahead of Mariah,
Yeah.
and we were like, "Oh wow!"
In Canada.
It was in Canada,
Hey,
and
it still counts.
that's
Yeah.
right. And you know what else? It was in February.
Yeah.
You know, I play so many thousands and thousands of songs on the Sounds of Christmas, and I have lots of versions of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, but I could probably count on one hand the number that are sung by a female vocalist.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that was actually me singing
Yeah.
that this time. So that was actually a guy.
Oh, you
No,
sang it.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, no, that's really true. I think that's why we decided to tackle it.
The Christmas side starts off with Here Comes Christmas, and there's Mr. Grinch, and there's Santa Jamaica. Is this the same one that you talked about earlier,
Yes.
or is this a new? Okay.
Yeah, it's the same one. It's had different titles over the last few years. It was called Santa Jam for a while, and now it's Santa Jamaica, but it's Jolly Old Saint Nick mashed up with the chorus. The chorus is original, the OA OA part.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
And then All My Friends Are Ice Queens, which we had talked about.
Right.
And the one that closes it out, Beatnik Holiday, which is
Well, don't talk,
12
Victor.
minutes.
Let him say. No, I told Victor to not talk. I want to hear what you think.
Oh,
I know what Victor thinks.
I think it would be hard to get airplay only because it's spoken word over 12 minutes.
Right.
well, there was a reason behind that.
It had to be 12 minutes. We needed to lengthen our album for the Grammys.
They have
So-
enough original material that was like, so we were like, when we were at a coffee shop and at this coffee shop called 885 Degrees out here. And there was a little
in Vegas,
yeah,
out here in Vegas.
little Chinese guy out there that doesn't speak any English, but he was playing an air hu, that air hu you hear throughout the whole song. Right? It's called an air hu.
An air hoop,
Yeah.
if that's how you
And
pronounce
we're
it.
like, hey, look, we'll pay you to come over here and I'll just record you doing something and I'll just write something over the top of it. And that way we can make this weird beatnik song for 12 minutes.
Yeah,
And fill up 12 minutes in
Mr.
like 35 seconds. We're like 3 seconds over what the Grammy needed in original to get it in the Grammy.
Yeah, we got to give him a shout out. Lee Dang.
Lee Dang.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So it was never really meant for airplay. It was meant for filler. But I'm surprised how many people like it. I personally don't. But there are a lot of people who, oh my God, I love that. I listen to it all the time. Like, you're nuts. Alicia likes it.
Well, I like it. I like well, I'm a beatnik,
She's a total
so
beatnik.
I like all that
And she
stuff.
likes to talk, so
Sure.
it works good.
It's funny because while it won't get on the radio, I bet it will turn up in lots of people's Christmas playlists.
Yeah, I think it could too.
Yeah, no.
Because it's the whole Christmas, Halloween, getting along.
Yeah.
It kind of has a bit of a political
Yeah.
stance, of keeping us all united, and so we'll see.
And Alicia likes that married an axe murderer.
Yeah, I kind of got the idea from the Mike Myers film. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I married an axe murderer.
That's
I love that beatnik part that he does.
Yeah. And that's so every time I hear it, I hear Mike Myers doing it. But
And I play the bongos.
And you play the bongos,
And
yeah.
I like all that.
yeah.
So you're taking the Halloween and Christmas stuff on the road. Where all are you going?
That we're gonna, our first thing is we got to build a show. We've been so working on the Grammy thing and seeing what it would really, really help if we got at least a nomination, and but there's a lot of people behind it, so we're not.
They announced the nominees November 8th.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who are showing us support, including Alice Cooper's camp, which is they're in the children's category this year, and the producer called us up and said, Alice loves it, and we're voting for you guys because we want to.
Alice has a his entry is Rock for Children. Rock for Children, his charity.
Yeah.
Doing it's called a Solid Rock Revival. It's a great album. It's children playing and singing on all the hits.
Alice Cooper,
Alice and Rob Halford.
And it all goes to Alice's.
But they changed the lyrics.
Yeah, they changed
So
the lyrics.
instead of like "No More Mr. Nice Guy," now it's "Now I'm Mr. Nice Guy."
Yeah. And it's like the children from rock, that children's rock camp, that kind of thing.
Rock for Children, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of Alice's camp is gonna vote for it because he just wants to get he thinks it's great. It should be nominated along with his.
Well, what's cool is the children's category has come a long way because the age range is up to 12. But you see a lot, typically, it's very young music in that category for younger kids and toddlers. And it's nice to see so many entries this year for 8 years old and up.
Yeah. The only thing unfortunate for us as far as that goes is because usually the children's category, there's no one in it except for, people who write for like Sesame Street.
There's a lot of big artists.
But now there's like Alice Cooper, there's John Legend in it this year.
Lisa Loeb is in the category this year.
It's like everyone decided this year to write a children's album.
We're like, oh my gosh, don't do that. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, Alice Cooper did a version of Monster Mash on that.
Right, because it's on that album. Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Yeah. I hate to ask, but I'm a Christmas music junkie, so I have to. Is there more Christmas music coming down the pike from you guys?
We have a couple of covers that are going to come out, and you know what we'll do? Every year, we're going to release more Christmas music every year because we want to keep adding to it.
Yeah.
Because to us, this is a big deal, and this is what we want to focus on for touring. So we're going to have to keep releasing Christmas and Halloween. We might even add some other holidays at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
but Christmas is our favorite too. So
I kind of want to make our version of oh my God, what's the metal Halloween band?
Oh, Trans-Siberian.
You know how Trans-Siberian Orchestra goes out every year and they have that kind of big show. I mean, art shows aren't gonna be that big, but
have you ever gone to see them?
I have, a couple of times.
Yeah.
Some of our well, not really friends, but acquaintances, that we know from Vegas, like Blas from he was in Slaughter and the Blue Man Group. He plays them, and Elvis, who was also in the Blue Man Group, and Chris Angel's thing, he plays them from time to time. But that kind of idea where it's a big production and it goes, I think they do like 3 months, that way we can go out and do 3 months, 4 months every year, so I just keep adding more Christmas songs here and there to fit in the show.
I would like to write more original Christmas music. Yeah. That's definitely a goal.
Yeah.
And it would probably be kind of like Ice Queens, more along the lines of like swing and that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Maybe creating some characters as we go, new characters, to deliver those songs,
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of people who are trying to connect this to what Danny Elfman did with Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yes, and I love that because we're such huge fans
of Daddy,
of him.
Dead Man's Party we're actually going to be doing that song on our Christmas.
We're going to do it in our set. We should record it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we should.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we love Danny Elfman.
One of the things that I found, because I love music so much, when I'm listening to your stuff, whether it's this album or any of your previous releases, is catching I don't know if it would be the inspiration, because I don't know who the inspiration is for you, but listening to something and going, wow, that's sort of somewhere between Blondie and Bowie, and then hearing another one and hearing something else. And I think that anybody who listens to this is going to hear something else, is going to hear pieces of artists that you love in a different way.
Right.
Right.
If that makes sense.
It does. It does make sense. And that's why we're all over the place with genre. Like vocally, I love everyone from Lyle Lovett, who I grew up listening to, and Prince, and of course Bowie and Danny Elfman. I really like character voices. So really distinct. I've never like technical artists. I like
Yeah.
like really strange, avant-garde, eccentric artists, but that have a mainstream vibe,
Yeah.
you know.
And Bowie, he's always been a big influence on us. And I'm more of the hit songs that Bowie had. And Alicia is kind of like, she likes some of the B stuff too, where I'm kind of more of the hook kind of guy. I need that hook there.
Yeah.
But my like her influences were all that stuff, and Prince, of course, and that's kind of our influences together. But my influence from a kid was always, I come from hard rock and funk, and so I was everything from the old late 80s, early 90s hard rock to Duran Duran. I was a big Duran Duran freak. And then as I into the 90s, I was more of a funk bass player. So I got in a lot of funk bands and everything Prince does, even some of his B-sides, and some of his later albums were I didn't really catch, but we have a whole room in our house devoted to Prince because we're just big Prince freaks.
You have another connection to Prince with a guy you collaborated with, Chris Moon, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who discovered Prince. It's been great getting to know Chris.
Yeah.
And we're still working with him. Some of that project got put on hold, but we did write a song with Chris called I Want to Be a Rapper. And it's pretty funny. Like Chris writes lyrics. And so he wrote these I Want to Be a Rapper lyrics. We wrote the music. We sang it. It's not ready yet for human consumption, but we have these two characters called the Four Free Clowns, and they were the ones that were singing it. And but Chris is great. It's really exciting to have met him and to have him say the things that he said about us. So, but we'll get back to that. I mean, get back to the work. Yeah.
As big fans of Prince, that has to be really cool to be able to collaborate with the guy who discovered him.
Yeah, it's insane. It's so surreal. We feel like Prince brought him to us because
we've had a lot of close calls with Prince throughout our whole career. I mean, and Simon Stinger, our old manager, was Prince's merchandising manager for years, and she's married to the bass player at the time. And then in Simon Stinger, when we were signing to Elektra, Sylvia Massey was producing our stuff. And if you're not familiar with Sylvia Massey, she produced like everyone, like Tool and Power Mad 5000 and everyone. But she was Prince's personal engineer for like 15 years. She lived at Paisley Park. And
wow.
But yeah, no, she just won a Grammy last year. And but yeah, so
he's always been in our lives.
Yeah.
We do Purple Rain, a cover of Purple Rain. We've always done it. And when he left, that was we stopped doing it for a while. It was too hard to do.
Yeah. But we actually had Michael, we were playing at Michael Jackson's house, which is around the corner from us at the Thrilla Villa in Vegas. And we were down in the basement, which is it's a I mean, I say a basement, it houses probably 300 people, and there's like a little nightclub kind of thing down there. And we had Tito Jackson, and who was the guy that did all the spokesperson stuff for the Jacksons that came up to us?
I don't know. Their dad was there though.
Yeah, his name was Zach or something like that. And yeah, they were all down there, and we were doing Purple Rain. They came up and said, "Oh my God, Prince would just love this." He's like, "You guys, you do your own version, blah blah blah." And we're like, "Oh my God, this is Daddy Jackson, Tito, and the other guy. I can't remember his name now. We're all telling us this, so it's pretty flattering." Anyhow,
We didn't know that they would care about a Prince song.
no, we didn't either. We thought, "Oh, you guys didn't like Prince."
It's funny. I remember a story that Michael Jackson told where he woke up and he had the melody of, I think it was Beat It, in his head, and he said, I've got to record it before God gives this to Prince.
And the irony, didn't he ask Prince to play on it? And Prince
He
said
did,
no
and he
to
said-
play guitar.
He did. Yeah, that's when we got Eddie Van
Flat.
Halen. Yeah.
Oh, it was Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You're right.
I thought there's that story there too. Yeah.
After the tour wraps up this year and we get into the new year, what's next up for fans of Jimmy Century?
Working on the production for the
Yeah.
Christmas.
Because we're not touring it this year. We're doing guest spots at different places around Vegas on different holiday shows. And then next year we'll work on the main
actual
production.
main production.
And then eventually we'd like to create like a rock holiday musical
Movie.
out of it. A movie though.
Yeah.
Kind of like Hedwig or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
A
what
film.
originally that's what brought us to Vegas is we wrote a song called Mr. Las Vegas, and then we had this idea for a kind of a mockumentary, and we got funding for it and all that kind of stuff. We moved to Vegas, and we were about to get funded, and we just couldn't. We had to get the distribution down, and we had Wayne Newton was going to be in it, and all the and we still might do it, but we lost the funding portion of it, and then we just kind of got, life took it away, and we just didn't have time to go back and revisit that again. But that's what brought us to Vegas originally, was that. Now we're like, well, now that this thing is kind of taking off, the holiday album and getting so much buzz, it'd be good to write a musical and do
it as a film.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Is there anything about a couple of holiday spirits, Halloween Perils and Christmas Carols that we didn't get into that you want people to know?
Buy it. Go and buy it, even though no one buys this stuff anymore.
I would say playlist it.
Yeah,
too.
playlist it and buy it.
But buying it, actually continuing to buy it, that drives it back up the charts, because right now it's not at the top. It's really like it's way down. I don't even know if it's we have to get it back up there.
Well, it's so weird. The charts are most of them are based on sales.
Yeah.
And no one buys downloads anymore. No one buys albums anymore. So all these people who are staying at the top of those charts, they're just getting everyone they know to go buy them or ask him, or they have companies that buy them for them.
Well, the sale and then it's the radio airplay, like Ken gives, and then streaming.
Yeah.
So those are the three things.
But yeah, so even if people never listen to it, just go buy it so we can get back to the charts.
Well, I always tell people the best way that you can support the artists that you hear, whether it's on the Sounds of Christmas or anywhere else, is to go to their website and buy stuff from them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll have merch.
Yeah.
We don't have it yet, and we should have had it earlier. But I think Scream Queens is the one we're starting with.
Well, we have merch
as far as merch,
but it's just not. It's not holiday merch yet.
Yeah.
But the album is the support thing. Go buy the album anywhere you can. Amazon, iTunes. It will be actually released. We're going to release it in vinyl. We're actually going to do another mastering. So it's going to be released again as a remaster here in the next month or so before Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're actually going to have vinyl pressed up as well.
So what's the best way for people to keep up with you?
Fans of JimmyCentury.com. They can go there, or they can find us on
YouTube,
Yeah.
FOJC or FOJC TV.
Yeah, but if they go to fansofjimmycentury.com or FOJC.TV, which is easier, they can find all the links to all of our social media, but for Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, but YouTube is just FOJC TV, on YouTube.
And Instagram, Fans of Jimmy Century. It's easy. We get messages easier through there if
Yeah.
anybody wants to
And Facebook.
direct message us. Yeah.
And X, we're on X, but we don't really do much on there. So you're better off getting on one of the other social platforms,
Okay. Well, I'll put some links down in the show notes so anybody who's listening can just scroll down there and click on it and go to your website. And from there, go to YouTube, go to Instagram.
Oh, thanks.
And bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah, because that'll really help, because the Billboard charts charted this album in comedy, mostly because of Wanna Be Dracula.
Right.
And in August, it was #6 comedy album with Weird Al and all those guys. So it's
Yeah.
really a surprise, and it was really cool. But because we're putting out the deluxe version in the beginning of December, we're really going for the holiday charts, and buying it helps us the most.
So wait until December when you get the
Yeah.
version and buy that one.
Yeah. And thank you for giving up your time to be on with us today.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Ken. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for listening, helping me share some Christmas spirit and some Halloween spirit, and for continuing to support the Sounds of Christmas station and podcast. I already told you how to listen to the station, and you're listening to the podcast now, so my work here is just about done. All of our episodes are available on the Sounds of Christmas website. Just click the podcast tab. And we also have a Linktree page that lists most, if not all, of the sites that stream our podcast. And I'll put a link to that down in the show notes so you can scroll down, click on that, find your favorite streaming site, go on over and subscribe. Then you'll never miss another episode. If you have comments or suggestions on this episode, previous episode, The Sounds of Halloween, or The Sounds of Christmas Station, feel free to reach out to me on social media or through the website. And if you're listening to this episode on your phone, you can also click the Send Us a Text Message link and connect that way. Thanks again. And may you always believe in Santa Claus.